Mia had never been nervous walking into Sterling Innovations. For 3 years she had navigated the glossy marble floors and towering glass walls like they were familiar terrain. She knew every meeting room, every executive's preference, and every corner where employees went to hide when the CEO's temper grew too intimidating. But today, her legs felt foreign. Her heart thudded loud enough that she feared the security guard could hear it as she scanned her badge. She clutched a small folded slip of paper so tightly that the edges dug into her palm. She almost dropped it when the elevator doors opened. As she stepped in, the mirrored walls reflected a woman she barely recognized, wide brown eyes, pale cheeks, and a stiffness in her shoulders born from a truth too heavy to carry. For 3 years, she had been the shadow behind Billionaire CEO Adrian Sterling, managing his schedule, anticipating his needs, navigating his moods, and keeping the world from wasting his time. In the company, Adrian was a legend and a warning, brilliant, disciplined, intimidating. He wasn't cruel, but he was precise. Every detail in his life had its place. Except this. The night before, Mia had left the office late, as usual. The building's front steps were almost empty. She had paused, breathing in the cool air. And then she saw them. Elena Hart, Adrian's stunning, polished, philanthropist fiancé, emerged from a sleek black car with a man Mia had never seen before. The man leaned against the hood, smiling with the kind of ease Adrian never allowed himself. Elena wasn't smiling politely. She was glowing. She touched the man's arm, gazed up at him, and kissed him like she had been waiting for it all day. They spoke close, intimate, familiar. As they separated, Mia heard Elena's laugh, the same laugh she used at charity galas and press events, except now it was real, unguarded. And then Elena said it. Text me when you're outside tomorrow. I'll make an excuse to leave early. Tomorrow. Today. And she laughed again before sliding into the man's car. Mia stood frozen in the shadows until the car disappeared, her stomach hollow. At first, she convinced herself it wasn't her place. Billionaires and socialites lived strange lives. Maybe it meant nothing, but she thought of Adrian. The way he softened when Elena's name was mentioned. The way he planned their future quietly, hoping no one would mock him for being sentimental. The way he kept a photo of Elena on his desk, not for others, but because he genuinely loved her. He didn't deserve deception, and she couldn't lie to herself either. The idea of him being hurt clawed at something tender inside her. So she wrote the note, simple, anonymous, straightforward. Your fiancé isn't alone. They're waiting outside. She couldn't bring herself to sign it. She rode the elevator up to the 47th floor, replaying every possible outcome. Maybe he would fire her. Maybe he would accuse her of lying. Maybe he would see it as meddling. But she couldn't let him walk blindly into betrayal. Her fingers tightened around the note. The elevator beeped. The doors slid open. The executive floor breathed luxury, quiet hallways, expensive art, floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a view of the entire city. Everything here was sharp, controlled, reflective of its owner. Mia approached Adrian's office, trying to steady her breath. The door was slightly ajar. Adrian hated interruptions, but he expected her every morning at 8. He sat behind his polished desk, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled to his elbows. His tie lay neatly beside his laptop. The morning sun caught the angles of his face, highlighting the quiet intensity that made him both handsome and intimidating. He didn't look up as she entered. Mia, he said, pen moving across a document. Investor call at 10. Prepare the comparative analysis and print the revised statements. Yes, sir, she whispered, her voice fragile in her own ears. She stepped forward, her heart racing, and placed the folded note on the corner of his desk, just within his line of sight but not intruding. Her hand lingered a second too long. She turned to leave quickly before fear could swallow her courage. Mia, his voice cut through the air like a blade. She froze. He lifted the note, brow furrowing as he turned it over. What is this? He asked. A note, sir. From who? From me. He opened it. The moment his eyes registered the words, the air shifted. Not outwardly. Adrian Sterling did not show emotions easily. But Mia felt it in the room, in his posture, in the stillness that fell like a shadow. He stood up slowly. His gaze lifted to hers. What does this mean? He asked, voice low. Mia swallowed. It means what it says. You're telling me Elena. He didn't finish. His jaw tightened. You're certain? I wouldn't have told you if I wasn't. He studied her. Really studied her. As if searching for any motives, jealousy, malice, carelessness. But she held her ground. His exhale was long, controlled, but filled with something she had never heard from him before, pain. "Mia," he said, stepping around the desk until he stood directly before her. "You saw something." It wasn't a question. "I did." "What exactly?" She told him. Her voice trembled. Her eyes didn't. When she finished, he didn't speak for a long moment. Then, "Come with me." Her heart skipped. "Sir, I need the truth. All of it, now." He walked past her, toward the elevator. Mia followed, legs unsteady. Because in that moment she realized. She had changed everything. Her note had cracked the glass around his world. Whatever waited outside, proof, confrontation, heartbreak, it would alter his life forever. And for the first time, Adrian Sterling was willing to let someone stand beside him in the storm. The elevator ride felt heavier than steel. Mia stood to Adrian's right, her breath shallow, her pulse loud in her ears. She had never seen him like this, not unraveling, not raging, but impossibly still. A calm so deep it felt dangerous, like the sea before a storm swallows a ship. Adrian Sterling didn't panic, he processed, and right now, he was calculating heartbreak. The elevator's glossy metal reflected his profile, sharp jaw clenched tight, eyes burning with something too fierce to name. His hands, usually clasped behind his back with effortless authority, were balled into fists. Mia watched him from the corner of her eye. She wished she could say something, comfort him, reassure him, but what comfort existed for betrayal? The elevator chimed. They reached the ground floor. The lobby was its usual morning chaos, employees rushing through turnstiles, visitors checking in, the scent of polished floors lingering in the air. But Adrian saw nothing except the scene waiting just beyond the glass walls of the entrance. Elena Hart stood outside, her golden hair shimmered in the morning sun, her designer coat draped elegantly over her shoulders. She looked every bit the socialite Fiancée magazines adored. Except she wasn't alone. A man leaned casually against a sleek black car, jeans, leather jacket, arms crossed like he belonged anywhere he stood. Confident, relaxed, dangerously comfortable around Adrian Sterling's fiancée. Elena had her hand on his chest, laughing softly at something he whispered. Not forced, not guilty, intimate. Mia felt Adrian still beside her, a full stop, a breaking point, a man absorbing the final truth he already sensed. His breath left him in a way she had never heard. Not shattered, not broken, quiet, final. Mia, he said, without turning his head. Yes, sir, stay behind me. The words weren't a command. They were instinct, protection. He gathered himself, straightened his shoulders, lifted his chin, and walked toward the glass doors with lethal calm. The security guards straightened when they saw him coming. The automatic doors slid open. The sunlight hit his face, illuminating every hard line carved there by betrayal. Elena saw him first. Her smile froze. Her hand dropped from the stranger's chest. Her blue eyes widened, not with guilt, but with fear of being caught losing control of the narrative she built. Adrian, she called out, stepping forward instantly, her voice laden with fake surprise. I didn't expect to see you down here. The man beside her raised an eyebrow, barely moving. Adrian didn't greet her. He didn't blink. He simply asked, who is he? The man answered before she could. Name's Knox, he drawled lazily. We've met before, indirectly. Adrian's eyes narrowed, cold steel. You've been outside my building every night. Not for you, Knox replied with a shrug. For her. Elena whipped toward Knox. Stop talking. But Knox didn't care. He tilted his head at Adrian. She said she'd break the engagement before your wedding. Guess she didn't. Elena's face flushed a furious red. You're twisting things. Mia's stomach dropped at the word wedding. Adrian had planned everything. He had been ready. All in. And Elena. Elena hesitated. Adrian, whatever you think you saw. What I think, Adrian interrupted, doesn't matter. His voice was glacial, controlled, devastating. I deal in facts. Elena's expression cracked. You're listening to her. She gestured sharply at Mia. Your assistant, a nobody. Mia stiffened, but Adrian didn't spare Elena a glance. You're deflecting, he said simply. You always deflect when you're lying. I'm not lying, Elena. His voice dropped into finality. It's over. Her breath hitched. The world seemed to tilt around her. No, you don't mean that, she pleaded, stepping closer. We're engaged. Our families, our plans. Plans you weren't planning to keep, he replied, tone steady enough to pierce bone. You've been seeing him for weeks. That isn't love, Elena spat, pointing at Knox. It's complicated. But you kissed him. The words left Adrian's mouth like a verdict. Elena froze. She didn't deny it. Instead, she turned her desperation into venom, glaring at Mia. You think he'll choose you? She sneered. You think he'll fall for the assistant who fetches his coffee and fixes his calendar? Is that what this was? Pathetic. Mia flinched, but Adrian stepped between them, shielding her from Elena's words with his presence alone. Do not speak to her that way, he said, voice low and lethal. Elena recoiled like she'd been slapped. You're defending her. Adrian didn't hesitate. Yes. The single word carried weight, truth he hadn't admitted before, even to himself. His gaze softened, barely, as he looked at Mia. She's honest, loyal, and she protected me when you chose not to. Elena's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Knox pushed off the car. Come on, Elena, he's made up his mind. She trembled, glaring at both men, one who loved her, one who used her, and she realized the choice she had made long ago. You'll regret this, Adrian, she whispered, voice shaking. I already regret believing you, he replied quietly. Elena turned and slid into the car. Knox followed. The car began to pull away. Adrian stood still until the vehicle disappeared from view. Only then did he exhale, slow and deep. Mia watched him carefully, afraid to speak, afraid to disturb what was left of his composure. After several long seconds, he turned to her. Walk with me, he said softly. She followed him along the quiet side path near the building, lined with trees swaying in the morning breeze. At last, he stopped under the shade of an elm tree and faced her fully. You could have stayed quiet, he said. I couldn't. You risked your job, your reputation. You deserved honesty, she whispered. Even if it hurt. Something shifted in his eyes, something raw and human. I haven't let anyone close in years, he admitted. I thought, maybe this time would be different. Mia's chest tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be. He shook his head. You didn't betray me. You warned me. He paused. You stood with me when I had no idea I was standing at the edge of a cliff. She swallowed the emotion rising in her throat. I'll always stand with you. His eyes softened, the smallest flicker of warmth breaking through the ice. I believe you. For the first time since she met him, Adrian Sterling looked human. Vulnerable. Real. What happens now? Mia asked gently. He considered her, long and thoughtful. Now, he said, I rebuild. And I start by trusting the one person who's never lied to me. Her breath caught. He added quietly, you. A breeze swept between them, carrying away the last of Elena's shadow. Adrian straightened his suit, regaining the composure of a CEO, but his eyes, when they met hers, held something new. Something that hadn't existed before the note. Respect, gratitude, and maybe, the beginning of something neither of them dared name yet. Come, he said gently. We have a long day ahead. Mia walked beside him, step for step, no longer just an assistant following her boss. For the first time, she walked beside a man who finally understood her value. And the path forward, uncertain, fragile, unexpected, felt like a beginning. Not an end.